Oh, hi there, guys. I wanted to comment on the resident doctors' strikes, which have just started over the last few days. There was an article on the BBC website yesterday that looked at the impact of the strikes on patients and their families. So I'm going to have a quick look at the article in a minute and explore some of the personal stories that have come up as a result of these strikes. But then I want to talk a little bit more widely about why I support the strikes and then why I think other people should also support these strikes. In terms of the article itself, they picked up on a few families or individuals who are, have been affected by the strike. So whether that's they've had their surgery cancelled or they've had routine operations cancelled. And I'll give a couple of the examples that they set out in the piece. So it says Peter Plant, 58, of Tamworth, who has kidney cancer, said his surgery to remove the organ on Friday was cancelled just on Thursday morning. And the operation has now been rescheduled for the 20th of August, but he fears the delay could be a death sentence. And then he says, resident doctors do not care that delaying operations like mine are very likely a death sentence. Well, I think they do care, to be honest. And then they move on to a story about a gentleman and his daughter. So he says, Hasnan Shahid of Bradford said his 3-year-old daughter urgently needed lung surgery, but it had been indefinitely postponed, despite medical warnings about the risks of delay. He said, it's been an emotional rollercoaster. It's very frustrating for us. Mr. Shahid's daughter has congenital pulmonary airway malformation, a rare lung condition. And he said consultants told him surgery was urgent and that it was important it took place in the summer and there was less chance his daughter could catch a cold. Now we've been told the surgery has been cancelled and they have no availability, not even in September. They were the ones who said that it needed to be done. And he says, I understand why the doctors are striking, but when you take this path and you go to university, you know how much you're going to earn. And then they talk about Sarah, a lady from the northwest of England, and she was due to have a hysterectomy, an operation to remove her uterus on Monday, but it had been cancelled for a second time. And she said, I don't have a rescheduled date for me at this point. It's very hard when you've been mentally preparing yourself for major surgery, especially as I was first told that I needed one in November 2024. And then similarly, Andrew Mundy, 58, from Lincoln, expressed fears that repeated delays to his tendon surgery could leave him permanently injured. He injured his knee in early February and was given an initial date for surgery at the end of May, which he said was cancelled because the consultant was on holiday. And then the surgery was rearranged for Friday, but it was cancelled because of the strike, he said. I'm furious and aware that every delay in surgery will make the chances of a successful repair even less likely. So I think, as you can see, obviously, it's just a series of sort of devastating personal stories, really. But then in terms of the wider politics of it, those people are they also seem to be more in sync with public opinion this time. So according to polling done last week, public opinion is against the doctors this time around. And according to YouGov, 53% of people oppose these strikes and there were only 34% in favour. However, despite that personal testimony in the story and despite the polling, I'm going to make the case here that junior doctors are doing the right thing by going on strike. I think from what I've seen so far, I think they've set out their case very well from everything that I've seen in the media and the people that I've seen put up for interview. Because very simply, and they've explained this very simply, their pay was decimated over many years by the Tories, and all they want is just a journey to pay restoration. The reason why I support these strikes is because that story is replicated up and down this country in almost every sector of our economy. We've had the largest squeeze on living standards in this country since the Napoleonic War. So in my area, social care, we've had the same thing. Our pay was frozen for 5 years during the austerity years, and then we had below or at inflation pay awards for most of the rest of the time. So our pay has probably also been reduced by about 30% over the last 15 years. And yeah, I'm angry about it. And I would love it if my profession stood up and fought back against this. The reason I support these strikes is because people are hurting across our economy and some group of people needs to take a stand. Or what I would argue to the people in the article who may feel angry or upset that they're not getting their surgery or treatment as planned is that they and the junior doctors in this instance are two sides of the same coin. That guy there in the story whose 3-year-old daughter needs surgery, she'll be entering the workforce in 15 or 20 years. If she ever wants any hope of earning enough to buy a home or have a half-decent life, she needs people to make a stand today and for people to say enough is enough. Wealth inequality is eating this country alive and living standards for ordinary people are plummeting. We should encourage people to take a stand and who fight against the system that causes that. So, I'm not going to claim that these junior doctors' strikes, resident doctors' strikes are going to fix the wider problems with our economy, but we should have solidarity with people who are standing up for themselves against the unfairness that's built into the system. Yes, I send my love and support to the people affected by the strikes, but then I also send my love and support to the junior doctors who are taking a stand here. So we shouldn't let the media and the politicians divide us. We're all experiencing the same unfairness in this system, and we need to back people who stand up for themselves. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.